when we talk about the Amazon, we're not just talking about some distant forest. We're really talking about a planetary engine, this living, breathing system that actually affects every single one of us. But this incredible world, this engine, is now perched right on the edge of a really profound and, well, dangerous change. So let's dive in and explore what's truly at stake.
To really get our heads around the sheer scale of the Amazon, let's just start with a few key numbers. First up, 1 in 10. Just think about that. For every 10 known species on Earth, one of them calls the Amazon home. It's an absolutely incredible concentration of life, all in one region.
Next number, 20%. That's how much of the world's liquid fresh water flows right through the Amazon Basin. It's a river system so mind-bogglingly vast it literally shapes the hydrology for the entire continent.
And this last one, it's a big one. 150 billion tons. And that's a conservative estimate of the carbon stored away in the Amazon's forests. It's this massive, critical reservoir that helps keep our global climate stable. So you see, these aren't just stats. They're the vital signs of our planet.
I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, the lungs of the planet, right? It's a really powerful way to think about how the Amazon sucks in enormous amounts of carbon dioxide and produces oxygen. But honestly, that metaphor doesn't even do it justice. It's more like an engine that literally creates its own weather.
And this gets to one of the most incredible ideas out there, flying rivers. The billions and billions of trees in the Amazon release so much water vapor that it actually forms a massive, invisible river right up in the sky. This atmospheric river then travels, delivering essential rainfall to agricultural heartlands hundreds of miles away, affecting food production for millions of people. It's amazing.
So here's the big takeaway. This isn't some self-contained system that's just over there. Those flying rivers and that massive carbon storage mean the Amazon's health directly impacts weather patterns, farming, and climate stability way, way beyond its borders. A sick Amazon really does mean a sicker planet.
Okay, so let's zoom in from that big picture view and get our feet on the ground, or maybe in the water, depending on the time of year. Life inside the Amazon is this incredible story of adaptation, all shaped by a powerful rhythm of flood and sun. It's a world that exists in two completely different states. During the wet season, the forest floor just disappears. Rivers can swell by over 20 feet, creating this magical flooded world where you can literally travel by canoe right through the treetops. But then, come the dry season, the waters recede, and it's a total transformation, revealing walking trails and brand new habitats. Life here doesn't just put up with these changes, it absolutely thrives on them. And that dynamic environment, well, it creates an absolute explosion of life. I mean, the sheer diversity is just staggering. We're talking about iconic species like jaguars and pink river dolphins, of course, but also tens of thousands of species of plants, fish, and insects. So many that a lot of them are still totally unknown to science.
You know, this biodiversity isn't just about beautiful creatures. It's also a source of healing. The Amazon is a living pharmacy. For centuries, indigenous peoples have understood this, using plants for medicine. I mean, look at cinchona, the original source of quinine, which completely changed how we treat malaria, or lapacho, which has shown anti-cancer properties. This is ancient knowledge discovered and protected by the forest's original inhabitants. And that's probably the most important thing to remember. The Amazon is not an empty wilderness. It is a home. 47 million people live here. That includes over 2 million indigenous peoples from more than 400 distinct groups whose cultures, languages, and very survival are woven into the fabric of the forest itself.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the flip side. Because this vibrant, essential world is now facing an existential threat. Scientists aren't just talking about gradual change anymore. They're warning about an abrupt and potentially irreversible collapse. They call it the tipping point.
So, the question we all have to ask is, how close are we? I mean, really, is this some distant threat we can worry about later, or is it happening right now?
Well, this chart lays it out pretty starkly. Scientists estimate that the tipping point, that point of no return, is somewhere between 20 and 25% deforestation. And where are we today? We're already 17%. You can see just how thin that margin for error is getting, and it's shrinking fast.
So what does tipping point actually mean? Well, think of it as the moment the forest's engine stalls. It's the point where it loses its ability to recycle moisture, to power those amazing flying rivers. Without enough trees, it can't generate its own rain. The whole cycle breaks. And if that happens, huge areas of lush rainforest could permanently transform into a dry savanna.
Basically a grassland that just can't support the rich web of life it once did.
So if we're going to stop this from happening, we need to understand exactly what's pushing the forest towards that edge. What are the forces that are closing in on the Amazon? It's not just one thing, it's really a perfect storm of pressures. The biggest driver by far is agricultural expansion for cattle ranching and soy fields. But that's made worse by illegal gold mining that poisons rivers, illegal logging, and poorly planned roads that cut deep into the forest. All of this makes the forest so much more vulnerable to the massive wildfires we keep seeing.
And to put that #1 driver into perspective, just think about this. In the Brazilian Amazon, a staggering 80% of all the land that's been deforested is now used for cattle pasture. The global demand for beef is, without a doubt, a powerful force reshaping the forest. This quote from the Amazon Conservation Association really it hits hard. It's not about the forest getting a little bit smaller, it's about the fundamental nature of the entire ecosystem changing into something completely different, and frankly, much less alive.
So let's bring all this together. Why does the fate of this distant forest matter to you, to me, to someone watching this, wherever you are in the world? Because its future is hanging in the balance, and that balance affects us all.
And look, the consequences aren't some far-off theoretical problem. They're already here. Just look at this timeline of so-called once-in-a-century weather events in the region. These catastrophic events are now happening every few years. This isn't a fluke. It's a crystal-clear signal that the system is breaking down, swinging wildly between record droughts and record floods.
So, if it does collapse, what happens? Well, it would basically trigger 3 global-scale catastrophes all at once. A devastating loss of biodiversity, the destabilization of weather patterns across entire continents, and the release of a massive carbon bomb into the atmosphere, which would accelerate climate change for everyone on Earth. We started this whole thing by calling the Amazon the lungs of the planet because it breathes in carbon and breathes out life. For millennia, it has helped keep our world stable. So that leaves us with one final and really urgent question. What happens to us when the lungs of our planet just can't breathe anymore?